Does Taylor Swift need to calm down with her new Pride-themed music video? Bella Thorne leaks her own nude pics after a hacker threatens to release them, and Ashley Graham claims there's a benefit to tokenism. We are breaking it all down. I'm Heather Gardner, and this is In Case You Missed It by HuffPost. And joining the group chat today is HuffPost Noah Michelson, Carly Ledbetter, Taryn Finley, and Jamie Feldman. All right, we've got to kick it off with Taylor Swift. She released the video for her latest single, You Need to Calm Down, and well, people could definitely not do that. Take a look.
You just need to take several seats and then try to restore the peace and control your urges to scream about all the people you hate.
All right, so the internet is torn over whether Taylor's LGBTQ plus message is one of allyship or is a form of pandering. Taryn, I want to start with you on this. First, you're giving me that look. First thoughts, go ahead.
I'm gonna make it real clear. Taylor needs to calm down, sit down, and lay down. It really felt like she was pandering. It felt like very calculated, very timed, like during Pride Month. And it didn't feel like true allyship. It felt like she was censoring herself and using, these queer LGBTQ like celebs as props, and I really didn't appreciate it.
I totally disagree. I've been waiting for her to come out and actually start being political. We've all been saying, why won't she speak out? She finally is. And I feel like she's donated money to GLAAD. She's talked about the Equality Act, which no one else is talking about, not even like politicians. And here she is like bringing this up. I think there's like hundreds of thousands of people who've signed the petition for it now.
Yeah, over 350,000 because of just this video, because she put a link in on the video description.
So I'm gonna take it. I'm gonna take it. I've been waiting.
Right, but I think that because she's been so apolitical her entire career, and it literally feels like 0 to 100. And it's kind of like with Bad Blood. Suddenly, it was no longer singing about boys. It was this message of female empowerment. And people question, are these friendships real? And are these girls being used as props? Right. And that's why I think it felt like pandering. It's just 0 to 100 out of nowhere. Who are these people?
Jamie, you've been awfully silent.
I see both sides. However, I am also on the pro side. I think that I've also been waiting for her to become political. I've also been waiting for her to take a stand about just about anything.
Right.
And I think that it's not too late when you're quite, possibly at the height of your career. She's huge right now. It's not like she's it's not like it's 20 years from now and she's like, I'm gonna donate to GLAAD now, right?
And
like
that's the other thing too, is like for pandering for me, like she wants something from me. She doesn't need my money.
Right. True.
She doesn't need my clout as a queer man. She's got everything.
That's
and
true,
so
but
I'm
also wondering, like, okay, like, is this? I'm curious to see where she takes this,
Yeah.
or if she's going to stop.
You're right.
Exactly.
Right.
And that's why it's like I'm not going to give her cookies or her credit right now because everything she's done to me thus far feels very disingenuous. It feels very calculated.
But don't you think that just by having this exposure and putting people, not that she's giving these people a platform, these people have their own platforms and their own massive
Not as much as Taylor Swift.
But not as much as Taylor Swift, and maybe not the same audience that follows Taylor Swift religiously, right? You have people who, we're sitting here, we're all, I'm a Taylor Swift fan, I won't speak for the group. Taylor Swift has fans all over the place, right? All over the country, all over different political views, different religious values. If she's this person that kind of can bring people together and say, this is how I feel, and maybe this is someone that you didn't know about that you should know about, or this is someone who you should appreciate creatively that you don't already, I don't think that's a bad thing.
I want to see her put her money where her mouth is and stop centering herself.
That's
where it is for
She's
me.
not taking a risk with this, honestly. I think that celebrities who were speaking up in favor of Hillary when, people were rallying against Trump, they really divided their fans there. And it almost feels like in 2019, Taylor just discovered gay rights. So I think,
Or she discovered her political voice. I mean, it took her this long. I think we also do forget that she's been around for literally 13 years now. And I think we also forget she came from Tennessee. She came from the South. She came from a not so LG. Yeah, she came from, talk about a genre who is definitely not politically engaged.
Yeah.
I mean, I think this was a big step for her. The only thing that I had a problem with, I want to get your guys' thought on this too, was Katy Perry's random ass appearance in this video. Did we think that was necessary?
We could have done so much more with that appearance because I think that, she wrote Bad Blood about Katy. I want to see a Bad Blood Part 2 where they come together and they do a collaboration. It just, I know, it's so felt out of nowhere that I feel like this is an Easter egg for a new Katy Perry Taylor Swift single or something, just because no one
not
else
mad
was
about that.
dressed like that.
Yeah, I'd be okay with that.
Yeah.
I don't need it.
I think at the same time we have to remember that Taylor Swift is a pop star, and like, so of course this is what she's doing. She's self-centered, and it is all about her.
Right.
And that doesn't shock me, but like, I'm hoping that this can actually do some good. And also, you know, we're in New York City, and we have queer rights here in a lot of ways, but think about all the kids in like somewhere like the Philippines or like somewhere who are seeing this video and like the kind of ramifications that it can have in other places around the world. So I think I'm just trying to think about what are the possibilities that can come from this.
And I think maybe the Katy Perry thing may have felt out of place, but I think when you look at the messaging as a whole, that we are not supposed to be pitted against each other, and we're supposed to be celebrating love and being positive, and you know, that was kind of the messaging at the heart of the video. And so when you think about Taylor Swift, Katy Perry comes to mind, right? This conflict between them always comes to mind.
Right.
Like boys, you know, not speaking up, and Katy Perry are like the top three things that come to
Could
mind.
not have been its own moment. It felt like she was
I totally agree.
capitalizing on this other moment that she was having.
Exactly. Like, if you're gonna really lean into your allyship needs to come at like a risk
Full
to
stop.
you.
Yeah.
Like, it needs to, like, you need to be able to put your privilege on the line and be able to like decenter yourself. I know I keep saying that, but it felt very much about Taylor.
Yeah.
All right, Taryn, do you think there's such a thing as too little too late then when it comes to this, or celebrities in general who just decide they want to be all of a sudden an ally? That's, I think, your argument here is it came out of nowhere for Taylor.
It did. And I don't necessarily think it's necessarily too late, but I do think too little is here, because once again, it felt, you know, as Carly was saying, like very like convenient, very safe, and like slap dab in the middle of Pride. And it's like, okay, where are we gonna go with this, Taylor? Like, are you gonna be consistent? Like,
I do want to know where she's gonna go, although I'm gonna stick up for her and just say that she did have that appearance at the Stonewall Inn here in New York City that helped raise money for the cause. She's donated her own money, so I do want to see where she takes it from here, though.
She spoke out against the anti-LGBT bills in Tennessee, but I think you're right. I think we have to hold our feet to the fire now and say, what is next?
Right.
You need to be having conversations with the community, and we'll see where she goes.
All right, we have got to move on. We could clearly talk about this all day, but we do have another story. Bella Thorne took matters into her own hands after learning a hacker planned to release her nude photos. So she just went ahead and put them on out there herself, saying she, quote, took her power back. All right, now, sadly, hacked phones, nude photos, this is nothing new. It happens to celebrities all the time, but really, it could happen to any one of us here. Do you think this is the right approach, to take your power back, to just put it on out there? Noah, let's start with you.
Definitely. I think that she is in control of her own narrative, and I think that's what you have to do. I think it's sad that she had to do that.
Yeah.
I don't think that, you know, this is the way it should be, but I think when something like this happens, then that's what you have to do. I thought it was really powerful. I really appreciated it.
You know, and I feel like she's trying to make the best of a bad situation, but I don't think that she's in control of her narrative. Just because in her response to some critics, we see her sobbing, crying, saying, literally, I feel disgusting that people have seen my shit out there. And that to me is not a woman in charge of her narrative. I think, you know, she felt like she was left with no choices, but this is extortion, this is blackmail. I mean,
her hand was forced.
Right, her hand was forced. And so would she have posted these without someone extorting her? I think that's the big
Was
question.
her hand forced, though? Because, I mean, she could have paid the ransom. She could have gone to court. Like, were there other options for her besides just releasing it?
Definitely, it's a crime. Just go to the FBI. And I know that she said this is a 17-year-old kid. I don't know if I want to ruin his life. But think about her life right now. And the public conversations that are going on, and this private part of her life now becoming so public, and this will always be tied to her. I think it's a crime. You go to the FBI and you absolutely make sure that that person is put in prison.
We did have a lot of public opinion on this, including one very strong one from Whoopi Goldberg. Here's what she had to say about it on The View.
If you're famous, I don't care how old you are, you don't take nude pictures of yourself
But she only
because...
wants to share with one person.
But she should... Listen, when they're hacking you, they're hacking all of your stuff.
All right, we kind of already alluded to this, but Bella Thorne then posted an emotional response to what Whoopi has said. Take a look at this.
Shame on you, Whoopi. Shame on you, and shame on you for putting that public opinion just out there like that, for every young girl to think that they're disgusting for even taking a photo like that.
So I really, really felt for Bella when this video came out. I felt like Whoopi was slut-shaming her on this. Jamie, let's start with you. What do you think about it?
Yeah, absolutely. I think it was 1,000,000% felt like slut shaming to me. I mean, I think that she's a young woman and we're all human and we all kind of like make sexuality this taboo thing. And I don't think that a man would have had the same reaction from someone like Whoopi Goldberg on The View talking about sharing photos of her body. I mean, I happen to think that it was Bella Thorne taking control of her narrative and saying, like, this is something that happened to me. This is a reality of life. It's a reality of social media. And so for someone who's not involved in the situation at all to kind of give her 2 cents about something that obviously was very emotional for her as it was, I felt really, I was really not into that at all.
You are so right, though. I mean, where was Whoopi when Bezos's dick pics were all out there? I mean, Whoopi did not have this strong response to that at all. It just kind of flew under the radar. But when it's a woman and a woman's body and a woman's sexuality, it is such a different conversation.
We don't keep that same energy. We really don't keep that same energy, and it's really unfortunate that like we still have this stigma around news, that they're so taboo.
Right.
In 2019, I'm not sure if y'all saw Euphoria, but like on the pilot episode, you know, Zendaya's character is like, hey, like news are the cultural romantic currency of today, and it's like, yes, everyone has news, and if you don't, like, so the hell what?
Right.
Like, you shouldn't be shamed.
You should be taking
You should be taking them. We don't send them.
I mean, I do have to ask, though, when you are a celebrity and a public figure, that does come with a certain level of responsibility, a certain level of caution in your mind. Carly, do you think she should have thought about that?
I think that I applaud people that take nudes. I think, again, it is 2019. People are going to take nudes. I just think that when you take them, you should be prepared, whether you're a celebrity or anyone else, that it could get out. It could be seen by all of your ex's friends. It could be seen by your friends. It could end up on the internet. So I think that when you are taking a nude photo, just in the back of your mind, you do have to acknowledge the risk of, I'm putting this out there. Someone could hack into my cloud tomorrow.
But it is a risk.
You know?
I think that's why her sharing them herself felt powerful to me.
Yeah.
Because
But I think her tearful response shows that, you know, she's losing control of the narrative where she's getting criticized and she's misdirecting her anger at Whoopi, I think.
I mean, we got to move on, though. Like, oh, gosh, we have such hot topics today. And on to our last one. Ashley Graham started a debate about inclusion in Allure's July issue, saying in part, quote, I have never looked at tokenism as a bad thing, as long as the brands continue to branch out and say, this was our first time. Next time, we're going to add more of the race, the gender, the sexuality, the religion, the disability. So much to unpack here, starting with the use of tokenism. That is a term that I have not heard in a very long time, and I don't think I've ever heard it in the good context. Jamie, what do you think?
I have to stand with Ashley on this one because I think that as we've seen in society and as fashion and Hollywood have become more inclusive, there has been a first person. And I think for Ashley especially, she's been tokenized, but she's kind of led the way for a bigger body positive movement. Right. And so I think when brands are putting their money where their mouth is, I don't know if I would have used the word tokenism, but I agree that somebody needs to be the first. And I don't think that's necessarily a bad thing.
I have to disagree because I feel like Ashley is she's not the prototypical woman. And so even though maybe she knocked down a door, there aren't a ton of people coming in that door after her. I don't think we can name one other plus size model who's gotten sort of the infamy or the popularity that
not
she
nearly
has.
as much as she
a
has.
plus size model who doesn't have that like perfect like body shape.
Fetishized, exactly.
Right. And like I really hate the word tokenism. Like I hate it. I think that like the only time tokenism can be good is for like that individual, for opportunistic reasons. I think that if you get your seat at the table, if you get your foot in the door and you aren't like, and you see that you're the only one and you don't have a stake at the table, then you aren't really like, that really feels like puppeteering. And I know Ashley has a bit more power than that because she's become such a force, but like, who are you opening doors? Are you taking that responsibility? And it's a shame that we have to take the responsibility, but.
I mean, and it's true. She is the only person of her generation, the only curvy girl, she says, to sign with Revlon. But she's still the only one. So I want to know why she feels that Revlon is going to be inclusive and do the right thing. She's a token now. How do we go to that next step?
I feel like there's such an easy way now that, you know, she has this power, she has this voice, she's saying she's fine with being the first. If you're fine with being the first and you say, as long as the company does something after me, then include that as a clause. Put that in your contract. Say, when my contract is up, put this woman in my place. Or, you know, she said like the face of a company should be inclusive, but so should the company itself. So how are you doing that? With the Me Too movement, women started adding in clauses. I want to be paid the same amount as a man.
And I think she could do the same thing
Definitely.
too.
I think I think that too, but I think it's a lot more complicated, and
For
there's
sure.
a lot more going
Right.
on than that. I think that, you know, that sounds very nice, but I also think that it's a systemic problem that
Yeah.
we
Definitely.
are looking at people, and like people don't necessarily want to see normal-looking people on TV.
All
So
right.
I think that there's more to unpack there because it's not just about.
So much more to unpack, and unfortunately, we do not have the time. But thank you guys so much. I know we could have gone for so much longer. Thank you guys so much.